welcome back. In this episode, this is part 3, and what we're going to do is build an MDG, or at least start building it. And what we're going to be doing is building out the profile structure for the MDG, and we are going to build out one stereotype and one class, along with one enumeration that is supporting our tagged values. So really look forward to getting into this with you, and let's get started. All right, we're in a blank project. There is nothing in here. We're in the default Sparx layout. As you've learned before, you got browser on the left, properties in the upper right, and notes in the lower right, and there's nothing going on in our work area. So in the last episode, we created an MDG tech layout. So we customized a layout that works best for us. It's got scenarios in it, and I am going to move scenarios off to another window, and this is going to be the area. So I have toolbox on the left, I have focus on the left, and I have discuss and review on the left toolbar here. So it's underneath the toolbox, and I want to be able to get the journal for any journalizing that I'm doing. In the upper right, we have browser, we have timelines, we have inspector, pan and zoom, and library. In the lower right, we have notes, properties, features for attributes, traceability. We have testing, test cases. We're going to be doing lots of testing. We have a document to expose any linked documents that we put in. Plus it will expose notes, but we use notes over here for that. And we have scripting for any scripts that we want to apply, especially during testing. So we go back over to our browser window here. I'm going to make this a little taller for now, but over in browser, we just have a model root folder. And what we're going to do here is we're going to select on model builder. This brings up this dialog. We're going to type in or start typing in MDG, and evidently I'm in a perspective that is not showing it. So we're going to go to all, and there we go. And what I'm going to do is go down to basic, because this is the template or pattern, I should say, that we're going to use that's provided by Sparx. And this makes things so much easier. And we're going to go ahead and create. So we're going to give it a name, and we're going to call this, or start out, just call it solutioning, because our MDG is going to be for solution architects, and give them some elements and connector just to start a solution architecture diagram. So we're going to hit OK. It is creating everything, and it is putting the 3 profile packages. We look over on the browser that we can see here. Now you'll notice that it named all 3 packages solutioning, what we called the profile for the main technology package. Let me bring browser over here and then zoom in so we can clearly see this. What I like to do is give these distinct or unique names. So I'm going to start with the toolbox profile. I am going to select it, hit function key 2 so I can rename it here. And I'm going to call this, no space, camel, solutioning toolbox. There we go. So it's been renamed. Then I am going to call the diagram profile. Again, I'm going to hit function key 2 so I can edit the name right here. And I'm going to call this diagram, solutioning diagram. And you can always change the name before you start saving things. You can even change the name when you start versioning, but we'll get into that in later sessions. Now, one of the things is I'm going to put browser back. Now, pay close attention here. I'm going to select profile package. You can tell by the stereotype that has been provided. And let's open up the properties window here. So stereotype, this is stereotyped as profile. very important to understand, because this one, let me cancel. This one is stereotyped diagram profile. And you'll notice right here, diagram profile. And then what's very important about toolbox is it's called toolbox profile. So understand these profiles, and you're going to learn what to do in each namespace or package. And you can fill it full of notes at here, and you can go over to, if I cancel out, you'll see notes right down here. There's nothing in there, it's blank. I can go over to journal, and I can start typing some strategies, start brainstorming here, and I can start discussions with other team members that are supporting the effort. But it's very important to understand what the profile is, what the diagram profile, and the toolbox profile. Now, the way that Sparx lays it out is solution, toolbox, and diagram, but in the browser, it's alphabetical order. So what I do is I like to move the toolbox profile up one so it's in the same order, because this is the order we're going to be working in as we're building this MDG. So you'll notice that when you're in this page right here, your toolbox should look like this. It should have profile, stereotype, metaclass, enumeration. This means that you're in the profile tooling, and then I always expand profile helper, and I leave the profile relationships open. I'm not interested in analysis of any of these other tools down here right now, but this is where we start. Now, before you get started, and I've already said this in a few episodes, you should have requirements for your MDG. Do not put your requirements in the same namespace as your MDG technology. I would create a separate root node, and I might call it project, MDG project, but have a separate root node. And in this root node, we are going to import our requirements. So we have our requirements in some designated folder. We're not going to strip GUIDs. You've all learned how to do this. We want to baseline, but I'm not going to for this demonstration. And we're going to hit import. Yes, please. And it is done that fast. And we can close. And you now, for the project or MDG project, we now have requirements that we can use to get started. You're going to be very frustrated if you started an MDG effort, start bringing in elements and so on, and you don't have requirements that are going to help you define and name and give yourself direction in what the MDG is. The testers are going to be frustrated with you because they will not understand the acceptance criteria that they're testing for when they start testing. Now, for this project, I'm going to have the project root node in here with the MDG that we're working on. But normally we have a separate instance of Sparx where we not only do requirements development, but we also do testing. But for this demonstration, we are going to do both in here. We're going to create another package under the project root node, simply called testing MDG. And if you're in a larger project or instance, you're going to want to be unique in the naming. Let's just go in with a class diagram to start, and I'm going to close it. I don't need it open right now. So what I am going to do is I'm going to move requirements off to another monitor so that I'm able to focus on MDG development. Now, out of these three packages, the first package we're going to start in is solutioning. We have a blank diagram here, and we are going to add stereotypes first. So stereotypes over here in the toolbox. And let's go ahead and drag one in. And then we're going to give it a name. Now we're going to use lowercase, and we're just going to simply call it solution. Could call it solution application, solution architecture, but we'll rename it when we're actually using the stereotype. Now, if you go to settings and stereotypes, you can see all of them are lowercase here. And as you are building a stereotype, as I talked about in previous episodes, you're building around a base class. And that base class can be anything that you have selected from the Sparx. So I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to go ahead and close that. And we're going to bring in a metaclass. Now, what a metaclass is the actual core element we're associating to the stereotype, just as you saw before. And it's going to be a class element. So we're going to select it, and then we're going to hit OK. And we'll get to the other core types later on. Now, from the stereotype, we want to apply it to this metaclass. And to do that, we can grab this arrow here, drag and drop it on the metaclass, let go, and choose extension. So now we've extended this solution to this class element. And just as you see in the tooling here, and let me sort by class elements and pick one here. You can see that the metaclass that they call the base class here from the stereotype is outlined in that tool. We're doing it in our MDG, the exact same thing. Next, on our stereotype, we're going to right click on this, and we're going to go down here to Edit with Profile Helper. A great wizard is provided. Brings up this dialog box here, and you can see the name of the profile. We can edit it, change the name. It's solution. And we've extended it to a metaclass. Now, you could add your metaclass from here instead of how we did it, and we'll do that on the next one. Down here on the metatype, we want to give it a name, and this time we're going to use camel, capital S, solution. And then you have the ability to change all sorts of properties. So advanced, you can change these properties here. Features, you can change these properties here. We're not going to make any changes, okay? We're just going to leave the defaults, and then we're going to hit OK. And you can see it added an attribute. If we go to features, it added an attribute for metatype. And let's move features below the work area so that we can clearly see this. The default value is solution. It's capitalized, or camel, capital S, solution. It's stereotype, lowercase. Now we want to add some tag values that are going to be built into the element, the class element that we bring in. So again, we're going to right click on our stereotype. We're going to go down to Edit with Profile Helper. And in here, we're going to go to tag values. And we can right click on here and add a tag value from here. Or we can right click on here, add specialized tag value from enumeration. Let's cancel. We have not created an enumeration yet, or don't have one within our project. So we're going to go over to Toolbox. We're going to drag and drop enumeration in, and we're going to give it a name using camel text. So we're going to call this one impact type. And this is going to show up as our class element, the same way that you can do if you're up in settings, go to UML types, you go to tag values, you can define your tag values here. Here's the tag name. If we were doing it here, it would be the same name, impact type. In Camel, you'd put your description in here, and then you'd build your details. We're not going to do it this way in our MDG. We're going to use enumeration. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to go to attributes in our features window, not operations, attributes, and we want to add some values to our properties and our tag values, And we're going to put in reuse. We're going to put in enhance, and we're going to put in new, just these simple 3 that are in here. And now we've got an enumeration made for our tag value. Now we're going to go back to our stereotype solution, and we're going to right click on this. We're going to go back to edit with profile helper. We're going to go to tag values. We're going to right click in here, add specialized tag value, enumeration, and we're going to put in the same name, impact type, name is our enumeration, and hit OK. And then we're going to show where our enumeration is. It's right here, impact type. You can see the types that it's filtering and looking for is enumeration. And you can build out your enumerations in another folder within your MDG project and reuse them across your MDG or your profiles. We're going to go ahead and select OK. And let's choose a default. So every time a class element is brought in from our custom toolbox, we want it to be, and if I hit this down, it has the 3 attributes that we called out. By default, we're going to start with reuse assumption. Now we're going to hit OK. And so you can see now in the attributes that it has impact type, the type named impact type, and the initial value of that particular stereotype, or tag value, I should say, within the stereotype. Let's now test what we've done so far here, make sure everything's working. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the package namespace for profile, not any of the other packages, be on the package for profile. You can be inside of it, but because it's going to look for profile. We're going to go to Specialized tab in the Technologies panel and Publish Technology. We're going to import package, this package, as UML profile. Go ahead and select it. You can see it's thinking, and it's done that fast. Let's see if it appears in Managed Technologies. So we go here, here's all of our MDGs, and here is what we just created. It's not version 1.0, it's actually 0.1. I'm not worried about it. There's no description or nothing here, but this is checked, and I know that it's extended only in this project. No one else can see this. Next, we're going to go to the Start tab, Perspectives. We're going to go to Perspectives. We're going to go down to Settings. We're going to go to Personal Sets. I already have one called Solution Design that's utilizing this tooling. So I'm utilizing Core UML. I've got it checked. Core Extensions, I've got it checked. Database Engineering, Common Toolbox, and what else do I have checked? Data Warehouse, schemas, and all of that. And mind mapping I use in solutioning, Kanban for managing tag values and metadata. And TOGAF, I'm TOGAF certified. I extensively use TOGAF, as well as Archimate, the UML2 profile, and then whiteboarding. So if we roll up alphabetical order, here's the one the profile we just did, and we're going to select it, and then we're going to hit save. We're not going to publish or anything else. We're going to hit close here. Now we're going to go to our testing diagram. Our type diagram is class. So we've got a class element in here, and we're going to go here and we're going to look for solutioning perspective. Let's go ahead and select it. So we only have one thing that is called solution right here in our available toolbox. So I don't have it set, so I've got to rinse and repeat. I got to go find solution, down here, solutioning, and I'm going to drag this element called solution with a capital S in here. So it's stereotype, lowercase, and it's solution 1. If I drag in another one, it's solution 2, just like modeling in Sparx on any other element. it will auto name it for you what the element is, and then put a number next to it. Now, what's interesting in this, if I go to properties right here, let me drag properties out. Here, I'm going to put it right to the right of the work area. You'll notice in here that we've got our tag value. It is built into the properties. It is not in the tags tab for tag values. It's built into the properties. It's default to reuse, like we said. And then we can come in and change it to enhance or anything else that we have it set to. And then we can right click in here while we're testing compartment visibility. Let's show tags. And there we go, tag value. If I do it for the entire diagram, elements, expose tags, let me click on and make sure there's a check in there. It does it for all of the elements within our diagram. So everything seems to be working like we wanted. We have a stereotype called solution, applies to a class element, and it's specially using our enumeration here for our tag value. Now let me show you the best way to test your MDG as you're developing it. And that is to go to the Specialized tab, Technologies panel, Publish Profile. Make sure you're on the profile package or namespace, because that will show, it'll enable this capability right here. Publish package as UML profile. You get this dialog box that pops up. The profile name is solutioning, and the destination is our MDG folder, not our MTS, our MDG folder. Go ahead and leave the default profile type as EA UML2X and give it a version number. This is the first one, 01. And then put something in here in notes, solutioning profile for solutioning MDG. Leave all of the include defaults checked and hit save. And it already exists, so I'm going to overwrite it. Before you go up and generate the MDG technology, what you want to make sure is your environment is clean. So over in browser, we're going to go to resources. We're going to go to MDG Technologies. And for user technologies, we don't have anything. It is clean. For UML profile, we don't have anything in there. We're going to go to start. We're going to go to perspectives. In perspectives, we're going to go to settings. And we're going to go to personal. It is clean. We do not have any personal perspectives. Shared, we've got this one, but the MDG has not been chosen. This is called solutioning. I want to leave it there, but for this demonstration, let me go ahead and delete that. And when we get back to perspectives, we will add that back in. So our environment should be clean with no conflicts, and we're ready to go back to specialize. We're ready to go to technology panel, publish technologies, and hit generate MDG technology, where we get this wizard started, where we're going to create our MDG. Let's get started. We're going to hit the next. And in here you have options. Don't use MTS file for technology. Create a new MTS file, open an existing MTS file. We're going to create a new MTS file, hit next. And then we're going to put the path where we want the MTS to show up. We've got our path right here, and we're going to double click and open it. There's nothing in there. And we're going to give this a name, solutioning. And then we're going to save. And we're going to hit next. For technology, we're going to call it simply solutioning. And then for where the MTS is going, we want to go to the path where we want to put our MTS right here. And we're going to hit browse. It is empty. And we're going to call this file, this MTS solutioning. And then what I'm going to do for this demo is just MDG and then hit enter. Then for the ID, this is very important. Come up with a unique ID. Let's call it SA5 because I have other MDGs we built. And this is version 01. Let's go ahead and bring in an icon and a logo. So your graphics department has created a bump file for your icons and for your company or shop's logos. In our case, we have our graphics right here in an image repository, and this is our icon. I've already selected it. Let's go ahead and bring in a logo. We have a bump file, 64 by 64. I'm going to choose that. And we have a URL. For the URL, we're going to use the YouTube UML operator channel, and for support, we're going to do the same. And then for notes, you have to put notes in, and we're going to put in a description. You have to put something in here. It could be just MDG or solutioning MDG, but put your notes in here. This is going to be the description that shows up. You'll see in a moment after we generate it. We're done here, double check and hit next. Now this next part here, we only are doing profile. We just saved a UML profile, and that's all we're going to go with. And then we're going to hit next. I'll talk later on, maybe in part 2, about the rest of these when we're going to bring in our diagram types. After we bring in our diagram profile, we're going to select this. But right now we don't have that. If you're bringing in images in your development environment, like logos or other images you use during modeling, you can bring it in here, scripts, and so on. We'll talk about this later. We're going to hit next. Now here's where you put the URL in, the path in where the profile resides. Not the MTS, where the profile resides. And as soon as we put that proper path in here, we saved profile, we're going to choose that, and we're going to hit and bring it over. We're going to hit next again, and it's done. We did not choose anything else, otherwise it would have cycled through the wizard to select what you want to bring in. But this is all we're bringing in. It summarizes what it's getting ready to do, where it's getting the profile, and we're going to hit finish. It says it was successfully done to this MTS path called Solution MDG XML. So what we're going to do is hit OK, and we're ready to bring this in via Manage Technologies. So in the Specialized tab under Technology panel, you're going to select Manage Technologies. And then let's go down here, make sure it's clean. We don't have any conflicts. So if we go in alphabetical order, solutioning is not showing up. We're going to select Advanced, and then we're going to hit Add. Now, Add Path takes me back to earlier versions of Windows. I don't like this. I use Add URL, and I put where the MTS is located, and I hit OK. And you can see it's doing some thinking as it's configuring the MDG in Manage Technologies. Now what we're going to do is go down and make sure that it took. There it is, solutioning. It is checked, hit OK. And then we're going to go over to Resources, Manage Technologies, User Technologies, and there it is right there. So we have our solutioning profile with one class element in it. And what we're going to do is go back to project. Let's close everything. Let me save and then close. Probably should have done that before I started generating the MDG to make sure the environment is clean. Let me go back to my MDG working set here. Here we go. I don't need scenarios. I have a clean environment. Let's go to Start, Perspectives, Settings, and then we're going to go to Share because I'm in a SQL team environment. I'm going to want to share this for testers and others, contributors, and we're going to create new, and we're going to call this just Solution Approach or Solution Architecture. Give the perspective any name you want. By default, it is checked these common toolboxes. Let me turn this off to show everything. And then we're just going to go down to solutioning, and there it is right there. We're going to check it. Let's go ahead and show selected only. So in this perspective, we've got common toolbox and solutioning selected. This is the most important one. We don't need to have that checked, but we're going to have it checked anyways. Go ahead and hit save. And now that perspective is saved as solution approach. We can close this, and up here in the upper right now it is on all perspectives. We're going to go to shared sets, solution approach, and now we're focused on this. I don't have any model builders. If I go to diagram builders, I should see my tooling, but we didn't have a diagram tool, so that's not going to be there. I'm going to hit close. Let's go ahead down to project, or in another instance where you're sharing this, and we're going to create a diagram here. Let's hit cancel and show one thing, right? So typically you may come in here and either one, use model builder, but remember there's no diagram, so there's nothing to choose. You will hit just this icon to create a new package. We're going to call it testing with a diagram. I want to do that in this demo. We're going to hit OK. And when this pops up, I'm in diagram builder. I still don't have a diagram because for this test, we didn't do a diagram type. So I'm going to go ahead and hit close. Instead, what we're going to do is add. We're going to go to all, and I'm just going to add a structural class diagram, create. Now I have a blank diagram. Over in Toolbox, hit the hamburger menu. We're going to choose Solutioning. And in here is our single class element for this test. Let's bring one in. Everything is right. Solution Stereotype. It's bringing in as the name Solution as we had called it out. Let's bring in another one. It should be Solution 2. So it does what it does normally when you're just dragging and dropping elements in. Sparx uses the element name and puts a number right next to it as a counter. So solution 1, solution 2, if I bring another one, solution 3. So everything is working the way we wanted it to within our profile for our one class element simply called solution. Now, before I close out, what I typically do is I'll come down here, remove this testing folder along with its diagram and elements. So we're going to delete it and it is gone. I want to clean my development environment for the next run. Then I go back to specialize, I go to manage technologies, and I go down and I remove solutioning. And how I do that is I go to advanced, I go to where that path is, and I remove, I hit OK. It refreshes the technologies that I have in this instance. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And then I'm going to go over to resources as soon as that's done. And I should not see anything in user technologies. So I cleaned my environment up for the next test run because I want to rinse and repeat. All right, we're going to wrap up now. We've gone well over 30 minutes. I'm going to break this up into two parts in building an MDG. Today, we created a metaclass for the class element that we want to use in our tooling. We created a stereotype with a tagged value using enumeration. And we generated a test MDG. And what's powerful about this approach is that as you're going through the rest of your development, you already have your MDG started. So when you're going into next, you'll be able to open an existing MTS and add in the profile, diagram profiles, and everything else that you want to as you're going through your testing iterations. And we'll talk about that in the next episode. So until that next episode, happy modeling.